That's great. You read the charter?
I was actually reading an email from my professor trying to rope me into something else.
No, they just.
I'll call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May we have the roll call, please, Twyla?
Councilor Garrison?
Present.
Councilor Lunt?
Here.
Councilor McFeely is excused. Councilor Bickford?
Here.
Councilor Ward?
Here.
Councilor Pesky?
Here.
And Councilor Brunel?
Here.
All right, and the first item, please, Twyla.
Good news and recognition. Order 2014-232, the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Pee Wee Football Team Proclamation.
Thank you, Twyla. Mr. Stevens? Where is he? Would you like to join me right here for a moment? And I think you have some guests for us.
One or two.
One or two guests. Welcome to our Pee Wee football players and their coaches. Thanks for being here, gentlemen. If you'd like to face the crowd. All right. This is a Town of Lisbon proclamation. Whereas the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Pee Wee football players and coaches have made the community proud as they demonstrated the teamwork and drive necessary to win this year's Central Maine Football League Championship. And whereas the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Pee Wee football team went into the Central Maine Football League Championship versus the Tri-Town Knights, an undefeated team during the last 3 seasons with an unprecedented level of team spirit. And whereas the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Pee Wee football team persevered, trailing behind 12-6 for most of the game in the Saturday evening contest, described as one of the best well-played games by both teams in the history of the league. And whereas the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Pee Wee football team held the Knights offense late in the final quarter to force a turnover on downs. With less than a minute remaining, Lisbon was able to score a touchdown and a much-needed extra point, beating Tri-Town Knights by a score of 14-12 and winning the Central Maine Football League Championship title and making this season a year to remember. Now, therefore, we, the Town Council of the Town of Lisbon, wish to congratulate and thank the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Pee Wee football players and coaches for their fine representation of the Town of Lisbon while winning the Central Maine Football League Championship title on October 25th at Poland High School. Signed this day by all the members of the Lisbon Town Council and attested by our clerk, Twyla Lysette. All right, we're all set, gentlemen. Thank you for such a great job. Everyone in Lisbon is very proud. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
I'm surprised.
All right, and we have a second group of young men. Okay. And a larger one, and we'll just make a little bit of room for the friends and relatives and family. Come on in.
So you have somebody playing too? This team or the next one?
The next one.
Yes, please.
Me too.
Order 2014-33.
Aiden's great. Yeah.
The 2014 Lisbon Recreation Youth Football Team Proclamation.
Thank you, Twyla. I don't think they're used to this. Welcome, gentlemen. I'll now read this Town of Lisbon proclamation. Whereas the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Youth Football Team have made the community proud as they held their heads high and maintained good sportsmanship throughout the regular season, during which they lost every regular season game 0-4. And whereas the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Youth Football Team, despite their regular season record, went into a postseason tournament scoring by unorthodox methods, winning game after game, earning a chance to play for the Central Maine Football League Championship title. And whereas the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Youth Football Team persevered through the first 3 quarters of the game, holding a tie in a 0-0 game versus the Maranacook Black Bears in the championship game. And whereas the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Youth Football Team went on to beat Maranacook Black Bears by a score of 6-0, winning the Central Maine Football League Championship title and making this 2014 season a Cinderella story of the ages. Now therefore we, the Town Council of the Town of Lisbon, wish to congratulate and thank the 2014 Lisbon Recreation Youth Football players and coaches for their fine representation of the Town of Lisbon while winning the Central Maine Football League Championship title on October 25th, 2014 at Poland High School. Signed to this day by all the members of the council and attested by our clerk, Twyla Lysette. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you, gentlemen.
Awesome job.
Thank you, coaches.
Yes, that's it.
We'll just give everyone a few moments to move through, and I think there might be other folks outside waiting to come inside.
How's Mark? How's the election at the moment? They got a new police department, right?
Yes, they got their new, refurbished their.
Oh, it's refurbished.
It's refurbishing an old building to a new police station.
Yeah.
Into the fire, trying to build a police station. Trying to, do more or less there.
Yeah.
50,000 bucks to go away. Careful.
That's all they put with that.
$50,000.
Jesus, that's not much.
The cloud. So you won't Slacker page said hi, she was here. She's working on her homework. Yeah, well. Yep.
These two other options is something that gives you an idea of what it is that you're trying to finance and control. Understanding that it's not a pilot. It's up against and it's also, again, information that you need to do your job. What they did tonight, that's one of the nice things.
You have to use that expression now, don't forget.
Very self-satisfying. Watch the little kids smile.
Although listen,
There's our future.
which surprised me, I would have thought it would have gone through
You're our
Louis Town
future.
instead.
My youngest daughter was 32. So, figure where I am. You got a long way to go. Well, at your age, the clock seems to go very slowly. First thing you want to do is be 18 so you can vote and tell your parents to piss off. Then you want to be 21 so you can drink. Then you want to be 25 so your car insurance goes down. Then all of a sudden you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm in my 40s. People are discriminating against me because I can't get a job. And then you get to be my age, and the clock is still traveling at the same speed, but your perception of it changes. It's just like, let's see, I moved into this town almost 12 years ago. It's just like yesterday. Where's the time?
Good luck.
A good bit of it sitting right here in this council chamber. And I like to think I do some good. First thought.
That's good, let's see your front.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he'll be gone by.
All right, looks like we're about ready to get started again. And, just another moment because we have some very excited young people out there. Okay, so at this point, thank you, Twyla. At this point, we will look for a motion for the council to approve both proclamations. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve both proclamations for our football teams. All those in favor?
None opposed?
And none opposed.
Order passed 6-0.
Thank you very much. And we have to thank Mark Stevens for making sure that we were aware of the hard work that both teams of young people have done, and it's the sort of good news and recognition that we like to see. We have one more piece. I think we've moved it on our Here we go. So the next item, please, Twyla.
Shall we begin with the public hearings? And the first public hearing would be for the victuals license for Aroma Joe's.
Okay. I'll open the hearing for the victuals license for Aroma Joe's. Do we have anyone who would like to speak? Okay, seeing no one, I will close the hearing. The next item, please, Twyla.
Audience participation for agenda items.
All right, do we have any members of the audience who would like to speak on items which appear on the agenda today? Mr. Fillmore.
Larry Fillmore from Lisbon. When Mr. Dale Olmsted detailed the poor financial situation the town was in and recommended a year using a maintenance budget. I don't know where that idea went. In a maintenance budget, the only items purchased are those that are needed to continue operations. It does not include items that are wanted by department heads. Also, once a budget is approved, those items budgeted do not have to be purchased. This year, so far, the town has purchased a backhoe, snowplow, dump body installation, a culvert liner, 2 cruisers, and an asphalt reclaimer. These acquisitions total $235,595. Of these purchases, only the snowplow is a need to continue operation. The rest are wants. The current balance before these acquisitions on lease to purchase items was $683,848.65 as of 30 June. Is there no wonder the town has to raise taxes to cover all of these wants by department heads? This lease to purchase program has to stop. This year's total payments for leases is $147,624.88. This town does not need a heavy-duty truck at this time. The town's undesignated balance is 7%, according to the auditors. Our charter recommends an undesignated fund balance 12.5%. This means that approximately 50% we are below our charter recommendations. All acquisitions that are not operationally needed have to stop until the town's undesignated fund is restored to 12.5%. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fillmore.
Bill Bauer. I'd like to speak on the audit bids, and I'm not sure if it's appropriate at this time, if I can be recognized later when you bring it up for discussion, or whether I should make my comments now.
It's an item that's on the agenda, so if I don't have anyone, I think it's the perfect time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I've been given the cost analysis for the breakdown for the audit bids, and I must say I'm impressed with somebody's hard work with this. The water department has had a different auditor than the town in the past, and we were asked if we wanted to join in. And I'd just like to know where we are as far as that's concerned. I contacted R.H. Smith and Company the other day, and they gave me the list of 12 plus customers, water company customers. And I contacted one and they were dissatisfied. I contacted another one and they were satisfied. They also informed me that their rate would be $120 an hour for everything over and above the audit. And we have some questions as far as that's concerned. Is the audit include the Maine Public Utilities report? These are questions you can't answer, and I don't have the answer to, but I did want to let you know where we are with the process. Does this include the adjusting entries? Are they familiar with the accounting system as far as the Maine Public Utilities Commission is concerned? As one of their customers told me, they had to teach them the accounting system. And do they do the financial statements on this? So The water department is more than willing to go in with the town as far as this is concerned, but we have a few questions we'd like to get answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Do we have anyone else who'd like to speak on agenda items this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to the next item. Twyla?
Audience participation response.
Okay, Mr. Fillmore, thank you, as always, for your insights and your comments. I don't think those are questions that we should just blurt out answers to, so we'll put some thought into it. Thank you. And maybe a follow-up phone call or email would be good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bauer, thank you for your questions and points. And have you had a chance to forward your questions to the manager, the town manager?
I haven't not discussed this with her, and I don't want to hold up the process. If the councils wish to do that, can the water department jump in afterwards, or is this got to be something that's got to be right now?
Diane?
No, you have time to get your questions answered.
Perfect.
And he knows tonight that we're gonna do everything except for the water department audit,
Perfect.
and that's gonna come from you separately.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. The next item, please, Twyla.
Is the consent agenda. Any counselor wishing to have an item removed may do so now. Items removed will be taken up next. Order 2014-234 to approve a victualer's license for Rich George doing business as Aroma Joe's. A manufactured mobile home park license for Kevin Fletcher doing business as Brookwood Manor. And the minutes of October 21, 2014.
Okay, so we're looking for,
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
thank you. All those in favor?
Passed, 6-0.
I guess that was shorthand. That was verbal shorthand. Thank you. And the next item, please.
Council orders, ordinances, and resolutions. Order 2014-235, the Boston Gold Coast Cane Award.
Okay, Twyla, I believe you have some insight for us.
Yes, the Sun Journal announced that Lisbon was looking for its oldest resident to honor with the Boston Post Cane. Nominations were submitted, and I believe the oldest person would be Virginia Tardif. And I recommend we make that award to Virginia, who turned 100 this year on September the 30th, 2014. Virginia Tardif was born on September 30th, 1914 in Lisbon Falls. Mrs. Tardif graduated from Lisbon High School in 1931. She and her husband Romeo raised 7 children in Lisbon Falls and at some point moved to Bowdoin. She served as the Bowdoin postmaster for 26 years, retiring in 1977, at which time she moved back to Lisbon with her husband. She is an 82-year member of the Pioneer Chapter, Order of the Eastern Star, affiliated with the Masonic Lodge downtown. She is still a member of the Bowdoin Historical Society and a member of the Burton Meadows Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. Mrs. Tardif is an avid reader and enjoys completing crossword puzzles and jigsaw puzzles, plus being a loyal Red Sox fan. For 83 years, she enjoys watching the Red Sox play.
That's great. Charlie, I think this is a really appropriate and wonderful person to make this award to. It honors the life of Virginia Tardif. We have a beautiful plaque that will be presented to her at a time that's convenient for her. I'll read the plaque and present it so that folks can see it. Lisbon's Boston. I've been reading a lot tonight. Lisbon's Boston Post Cane Award. The Boston Post instituted the tradition of passing on the cane to the oldest citizen when it distributed canes to some Maine communities. Today, this tradition continues as we recognize Lisbon's oldest citizen. The cane will be displayed at the Lisbon Town Hall, honoring the life of Virginia L. Tardif, awarded November 5th, 2014. Okay. And this plaque will be awarded to Mrs. Tardif. Yes. Thank you for your hard work in making sure that we found a good person. And I know there are lots of people who weren't just quite old enough. A lot of people close. Okay, great. Thank you very much for doing all that work for us, Twyla. And the next item, please.
Order 2014-236, authorization for the library to apply for a Community Health Information Partnership Grant.
Okay, and I believe we have the library director here to shed some light on this for us. Mrs. Neto?
Thank you. This is a grant that we get, not every year, but every second year, and we were very pleasantly surprised that they sent us an application this year, because we did receive $400 last year. It's Curtis Memorial, which is the Brunswick Public Library, and the two Brunswick hospitals choose 10 area libraries, and they offer you a $400 grant to buy new medical and well-being, wellness books and videos. Last year we did get 400, and we bought wonderful children's books on different aspects of wellness and just some neat stuff, and videos on bullying and things like that too. And the adults absolutely love the new fitness videos that we got, so those go out all the time. And so we were very pleasantly surprised that they offered us again this year. Deadline was beyond this date, so I met with the town manager, and she gave me permission to send a letter saying we were interested pending approval of this council to move forward with this grant. And so it's an opportunity for us, and $400 in our book budget is significant for us, and adds a lot of good books on timely-ish, things, blood pressure, and almost anything that anybody can ask for.
And is there a requirement for Lisbon to have any matching funds?
No, we do not. You don't need to match. They ask that you publicize this information by having this televised. That's part of that. And we thank them publicly in the local newspapers. The books and videos that we purchased, there's a special stamp. And certainly when you come to visit, it says CHIPS, and you wonder what is that about. And inside there's a book, the book covers, there's also information that this was a gift from this organization. And so they ask us to send them a list of what we'd like to purchase, just for their review, and usually the check comes with a congratulations, you've been awarded this gift. So it's an opportunity for us to add to our medical collection.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Do we have any questions from council for Mrs. Neto? Okay, well, thank you very much. So our action is that we would authorize to send in a letter of, authorize Mrs. Neto as director of the library to send in a letter of interest and apply for the 2014 CHIP grant. Do we have a motion to do so?
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Seeing no objections, 6-0, order passed.
Thank you, Twyla. And the next item, please.
Order 2014-237, Public Works Heavy Duty Truck Bid.
And there he is.
Good evening. I believe in the package you have the RFP along with all the bids that we received for the truck replacement. Basically, we were looking to replace, we have a, we have a 2000, no, it's, yeah, 2000 GMC 3500, which is a two-wheel drive dump truck that's been off the road for the summer because it wouldn't take a sticker, it's rotted out, dead body, you name it. And the goal at this point is to take, we have another GMC 3500 that's four-wheel drive. We're going to shift that to that, basically the role that that two-wheel drive had before, and replace it with the heavier duty four-wheel drive truck that would be used for plowing and sanding this winter. The 3500 was always used as well. Last year we ended up welding the frame because it broke, because it's really overloaded based on with the sander and the plow on it. So this time we put out a bid specification for a much heavier duty truck, still four-wheel drive. It's a ends up being an F550. We couldn't specify 550 or 5500. Basically, Ford and Dodge are the only ones that would make a vehicle in this class. We sent it out to all the dealers anyway, including the Chevy dealers, and we received two bids, both Ford F550s, one from Whitehead Ford Truck Center, $52,669, and one from Wiscasset Ford at $54,999. 039, and this includes a plow and a dump body all together. With the, again, using the money that we budgeted to purchase these items in a lease purchase fashion, we received the lease purchase prices for the hot blocks asphalt reclaimer, and then based on knowing what the PD looked at for prices for their cruisers in this ballpark, we're going to be below that threshold from the budget standpoint. So we're asking permission to award to Whited Truck Center so we can get that thing ordered.
Thank you. Diane, do you have anything to add?
No?
Okay, and do we have questions from council?
I do have 2 questions. So, do you already have a sander for it, Ryan?
Yes, we're
Okay.
using the one that was in the 3,500.
And what are you expecting the lease purchase payment to be?
Depending on the years, my guess is it's somewhere around, I'm going to say around 10,000 and maybe up towards 11 or down towards 9, depending on the term, but not having, an actual bid to us. I'm guessing somewhere in the 10, 11 range.
And you mentioned that you had got pricing for the hot box. How much
Yep.
was that, just so I can know how much?
I believe it was 6,600, right around there, 6,600 for that, so be in the $18,000 range.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions?
What road do you use this for?
We use it
That's
all over.
every
We use it
single
town
road.
out. We use it here at the town office. We use it on a lot of the smaller dirt roads. I mean, I've driven that truck on the route before. It's been the boat launch, this end of town, the parking rides, County Road, Farnsworth Street, some of the smaller roads that we don't put a big truck on. And it's used also for cleaning up intersections behind the bigger trucks or in cul-de-sacs and whatnot. It's used fairly
So
safe.
if you didn't get it, what would you have to do? If you
Didn't get it?
didn't have this truck, say we didn't approve the money, what would you have to do?
We'd have to use the one that we're
The
trying to
old truck.
replace, and we're
Yeah.
still gonna be down a vehicle.
Okay.
I mean, that's the whole point, we're down a vehicle, trying to shift a truck that was too light duty for the job it's being asked to do, since we've already had to weld the frame.
And you're replacing a vehicle here, you're not adding to the fleet or
Correct.
anything, okay?
Thank you, Councilor. Do we have any further questions?
What would the other truck be used for? The one you're replacing, will you junk it?
No. The one that's junk?
Yeah.
The one that won't take a sticker, we've actually offered to Verla to use in the park, just in the park, not on the road, so she'd have the access to a dump truck in the park. She's so
Verla,
wanted it, right?
someday you'll have a new truck.
I always get the hand-me-down, so I'm happy with what I can get.
She seemed happy the first time we offered.
Thank you, Ryan.
Either that or we'll get rid of it. I mean, to be honest with you, it's those are the 2 options.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have any further discussion?
I'll make a motion to accept the bid.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to award the bid for 2015 Ford F-550 to Whited Ford Truck Center in the amount of $52,669, and to authorize the finance director to seek funding for a term not to exceed 6 years through a lending institution for the lease purchase of the vehicle. All those in favor?
Seeing no objections, order passed 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And the next item, please, Darla.
Order 2014-238, audit bids.
All right, and Diane?
Jessica's
Ah,
got
good, okay.
Hello. So we put out an RFP for audit services. We sent the RFP out, or bids were sent out to 10 auditing firms, and you have the 4 bids in front of you for those that responded. I just wanted to take a quick minute and respond to Mr. Bauer on RHR and the water department, because I think I see what should answer his questions within the proposal from RHR. It does say in here that they will provide us with, I'm just trying to find the language, I'm sorry. That they will summarize the results of the field work and findings, that they will provide adjusting entries to us, as well as under other, they say PUC report filing by April 1st. So I don't know if that helps answer his questions, but we can certainly go over it at your convenience So I just wanted to let him know
And,
that publicly.
I know Mr. Bauer knows that he can contact you anytime.
Yeah.
So, great, thank you.
So, but you have the 4 proposals in front of you. In regards to the general fund, all the bids came in under what we currently budget, with RHR being the lowest bid at $9,850. With the school, they currently budget $97.65, and there were 3 that came under, with Barry, Talbot, and Royer being the lowest. For sewer, we currently budget $2,000. There was only 1, Barry, Talbot, and Royer, that came in under that budget. And we'll leave the water alone since we're not doing a recommendation on that tonight. And in total, our current budget is $38,090. That does include the water. And as you can see, the lowest bid that came in was RHR all around, so that is where we stand with those.
Okay, do we have any questions for the finance director?
I just want to say I contacted Ron Smith when I saw the timeline that he proposed to us, and it's very aggressive, and I just wanted to make sure that if he took on Lisbon, he would still have time to meet the deadlines, and he said he would. I guess what they do is a lot of preliminary audit work, you know, like in June, May or June, which helps the process later on. So he said that there would be no problems. I did learn after we got the bids in that there's a member of his team, which will be the lead person for this team, who used to work for Brantner and Thibodeau. And I've had a lot of experience with them, and I've actually worked with her back when I was working for the town of Skowhegan. She's very, very qualified. So I was really pleased to find out that she was with them, and I did not know that.
And I believe there was one other member of the team that was also used to be with RKO.
Oh, yeah.
So both of those would be on this engagement.
And just,
I was just gonna say, I did actually call 2 references with RHR. Both of them, I will say, outside of the phone calls I made, it was kind of up and down whether people agreed with going with RHR or not. A lot of people were, you know, warned against. The 2 people that I called that are current clients of theirs, love them. They say that they do a great job, they're very responsive, had no problems with them, so that's
and
what
they're
came up.
familiar with the software we have, the
Yep,
Trio
they
software.
work with Trio at these other clients as well, so.
I have, just for myself, just to clarify, I know this is a much lower bid than any of the others, and it's for a 5-year contract term, so that means that we'd be locked into that $26,097 for 5 solid years per year. I do notice that there are some asterisks on some of these. This one is based on a 0% increase. Can you explain to us what would happen if there was not a 0% increase?
The asterisks under each one of those came right out of the proposals that each of these companies provided. Within RKO's, their pricing structure for each of the 5 years was based on a 3% increase each year. So that the increase that you see is a 3% increase year over year. And the same with Barry, Talbot, Royer, theirs was based on a 2%. And RHR went to the extent to say based on a 0%, so I just included theirs as 0. Brantner Thibodeau was the only one that did not have any language on why their pricing went up or in what fashion that it went up. It was what it was. So I just wanted to point out the structure of the increase, what they were allowing for.
Okay, and this question is for Diane and Jessica. Do you think that, you know, in your experience working with auditors, do you think there's any reason that any of those numbers might change? And I'm just trying to cover all the bases because that is such a low number, and it's kind of like, oh, happy birthday, but what's, you know, where's the downside? I guess I'm a little worried about that. I want to make sure we've covered that.
The only time that you would see an increase is if something happened and they had to do some of the work and it's outside of the audit, the
Okay.
scope of the audit. If we needed their services to do something like, I can't imagine what it would be if there was something that we couldn't do and we needed them to do it for us. typically but I don't see that happening here. I mean, not the staff that we have.
Okay.
If we had a turnover in staff and we might need their help, then they would charge us the hourly fee, but no, this is straight for the audit. It should not change.
Even the structure of
Yeah.
the services that are outlined in the proposal are standard to what we currently have now. I mean, it even talks about the compilation of the adjusting entries and the financial statements, which with RKO I had been transitioning to do myself and have been and have that capability, but their structure that they have allows for them to take that on. So if something were to come up and couldn't be done from a time perspective by me, it seems to be covered within their proposal that that's part of the scope of the audit. So.
It sounds like you're comfortable with going forward with this company.
I'll be honest, I was not at first. You know, I mean, change is always nerve-wracking, but I did feel much better after talking with the references. One of them being the city of Bath had, I know the finance director there from some of the conventions and stuff that we go to. And they were in a very similar situation when they switched to RHR. They had been with RKO for 30 years, or she wasn't sure how long, but it was longer than she had been with the city of Bath. And they transitioned recently to RHR, and she said, you know, it's difficult because all the schedules that you do are going to be different and things of that nature, but it's very doable and they're great people. And so I felt much better after talking with the two references that it's at least equitable, you know, to what we should be getting, so, or what we're currently getting, I should say.
If we would go ahead and go forward with this company, and after, say, year 2, you and Diane say, this is not working, is there a way to end the contract? Is there any outs?
Good question. I'm not.
Just from you're telling me, I'm a little anxious from hearing what you were saying before you called the references. Because you work in it every day, I don't.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure if there was something within the bid or proposal that allowed for a mutual
Separation.
Thank you. I was like I'm like thinking of the word. I'm honestly not positive if there's something within the proposal that allows for mutual separation. I'd have to look.
So are you thinking that maybe we should make sure that we check with legal, just to double check on that?
With that,
All right, so we can put that little,
Did you notice a separation portion of any of the proposals?
To be honest, I didn't really look for one, knowing that they were signing on for a 5-year contract. You know, anything is manageable for an amount of time. You know, I'm learning in municipal government that things constantly change. So you know, it's only a short amount of time in the grand scheme of life that you just have to get through something. To be honest, I didn't really look for it. To me, this is a 5-year contract. This is what we're looking to enter into, and we'll get through it. So, and if it works and they continue for a longer term, great. If not, we have 5 years, we go for another bid, so.
any questions from the rest of the council?
I just wanted to clarify the 0% increase means that's what we're locked into for
Correct.
5 years.
Correct.
I just wanted to double check that.
Okay, well, I was really pleased when I saw these numbers, because when I see that the total in our current budget is $38,090, and for 2015, we could budget $26,097. That's a sizable difference and a sizable savings. And to be able to maintain that same exact number for 5 consecutive years, I think that the savings is really huge for the town of Lisbon. So I was really pleased to see that.
Typically, in some of the other audit RFPs that I've been involved in, they've always been higher. And I was really shocked to see that they were low bid, because I did not expect that. They've been on several RFPs that I've been involved in. So I think they really want our business.
I think we may end up being a larger client for them, looking at their list of current clients. I think we may be one of their larger ones that they pick up.
But you and Diane are confident that they're up to the task? Yeah, okay. I'm satisfied. Any further comments from council? All right, so our recommendation is to award the bid for auditing services. Thank you. Sorry. For auditing services to RHR Smith and Company for a 5-year contract term from 2015 to 19 in the amount of $22,117 per year for the general fund, school, and sewer audits. And we'll add the clause after the town manager checks with legal on whether, you know, if we're unhappy with the service.
Right.
Okay. Do we have a motion to award the bid?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Seeing no objections, order passed 6-0.
Thank you. The next item, please, Twyla.
Order 2014-239, Beaver Park timber harvesting.
Okay, now Verla's here, isn't she?
Yes, yes.
Good evening. Beaver Park is a certified tree farm. I don't know if you know that. We do have a management plan. It was updated in 2011. And we've worked with the same consulting forester since 1980. And I had noticed over the past 3 years, the pine trees were declining. And if any of you have timber forests, pine forests, you may notice the same thing. They've been infected with a blight, the tips of them, and they're shedding their needles. They were shedding their needles in June. They shouldn't be shedding needles in June. So I contacted the forester, and he came out and walked it. Then he contacted a forest pathologist from the University of Orono, works for the state. He also came out and I walked it with him, and they determined that the trees in certain sections of the park are infected and they're dying. Once they lose their needles, they can't produce food. They start to die. So he recommended that we move forward with the management plan and harvest these trees before they die, and we reach no values. You know, they'll just
So
fall
wait till
over.
they're dead, they're not worth anything.
Right, they're just gonna fall over and become ant food. You know, now we can sell it, harvest the lumber and make some money off it. So that's what I'm recommending, is that we go ahead and have this thinning operation done at the park, removing these trees, and also trees that are around the structures in the park. We've already had one tree come down on a picnic shelter. I think we should remove trees that are around the log cabin, around the lodge, around the shelters. And while we've got a forester in there, have them cut out more trees along the ball field where we have the parking area, and eventually expand that parking area. It's the time to remove the trees are now, while they're being done, and we can get money from them. So,
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Verla? Thank you very much for getting this ready for us, Verla.
okay. In your packet, I also suggested that this might be carried forward for Beaver Park projects. That's what's been done in the past, and then we use it for different projects.
Okay.
So,
And did Verla bring that up with you ahead of time, Diane?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's in the
That should be in your
recommendation.
packet.
Okay, great.
It's all in the recommendation.
Gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Verla. All right, and this is all to give us a healthier park, and a park that will be available for, you know, growing the space a little bit, and I think it's a great idea. So we are looking for the council to give authorization of a timber harvest for the Beaver Park property to be completed 2014 and 15, to pay the forester $65 an hour plus $12 per gallon of paint, with the total payment not to exceed 20% of the sale income from the timber harvesting proceeds. And for the remaining funds derived from the harvest be carried forward and designated for expanding the field parking area, installing plumbing at the Lone Pine Lodge, thank goodness. And purchasing playground equipment for the Middle Pond Tot Lot projects at Beaver Park. Do we have a motion?
Make the motion.
All those in favor?
Seeing no objection, order passed 6-0.
Thank you very much, Twyla. We appreciate everything you do over there. And the next item, please, Twyla.
Yes, order 2014-239A, legal representation for conveyance of Miller Hydro and Miller Industries properties.
Diane?
Yes, Dan Stopford from Brandon Isaacson has a conflict with dealing with the conveyance of those properties. So he has suggested a couple of law firms for us to contact, and he will do that on our behalf to do this project for us. So what I need tonight is just to have authorization to allow him to contact. I'll start with one firm to make sure there's no other conflicts, and we'll get an attorney on board to take care of that property, and he'll make sure that they get all the files that he has. So it's just for this one project, so that we can convey those properties now from the trail.
This is a loose end we really need to get cleaned up and
It
do it
is,
as quickly as
and,
possible.
It's the Miller Hydro is where the conflict is.
Right. Okay. So we're looking for a motion to authorize the town manager to select an attorney to represent the town of Lisbon on the conveyance of the Miller Hydro and Miller Industries properties. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I would like either maybe you could, Lisa or Diane, give a little more explanation on what this is for. After the voters voted down the purchase of the Rumble Mill, council talked about something Rumble Mill before, and my phone blew up, people thinking we're going behind the citizens buying the mill. So can you just explain a little more?
It's for the trail properties, like the New Androscoggin River Trail, the Miller properties that they, and I don't know what the other one, there's two pieces, because I wasn't here.
Right, when we built the trails,
Paper mill trail.
when we
That's what
built the
it's
trails, we needed to have some
Land.
land conveyed, and that paperwork didn't get done appropriately. So we're taking action to make sure that the paperwork, it's after the fact, but we're making sure the paperwork gets done so that it's solid.
And council agreed at that time for to accept the donations of those properties, and now we need to complete the paperwork, get it recorded in the town's name.
It's in the best interest of both the folks who
Yes,
conveyed
but
it to us
is not
and ours.
the other property that you're talking about, it has nothing to do with that.
But when the
I
citizens
know.
hear Rumble Mill, they're gonna spark and, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So I just wanna make sure people in the public know on TV that we're not doing something with the mill.
We're not accepting that bill at all.
Correct.
No,
Thank you.
absolutely not.
Thank you, Councilor Pesky. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Seeing no objection, order passed 6-0.
Thank you, Twyla. And the next item, please.
Under other business, town manager's report.
I just want to announce that Duncan Daly, the mechanic at the Public Works Department, has announced his retirement. It's going to be effective January 2nd, 2015, and we'd like to thank him for his many years of service and dedication to the town of Lisbon.
Absolutely.
He's going to be missed.
I think a lot of us have had dealings, run into him, had dealings with him along the way, and we appreciate such long-term service.
And the,
Missed.
yes, definitely. The next item is the election results, and Twyla is going to read those.
That's great, thank you, Twyla.
So the order,
I do know, I'm still exhausted from yesterday. It was a very long day, and I got to see firsthand how many Lisbon voters turned out. It was wonderful to see. It was wonderful to see so many new people registering to vote. And I think we had, do you know the percentage of turnout that we had?
around 63%.
That's awesome, that's great. Go ahead.
So, we'd like to present to you the totals. The results for the November 4th election are as follows. For council at large, 1,197 votes for Councilor Ward, 716 votes for Dean Woolley, 1,955 votes for Dale Crafts, who was elected, and 267 blanks. In the school committee, there were no candidates and there were no declared candidates, and we had 4,135 blanks. For the Water Commission, we had 3,066 votes for Ken Wells, who was elected, 1,069 blanks. For question 1, for the council to appoint an attorney, We had 2,589 votes yes, which passed, 992 vote no, with 554 blanks. And question 2, for the voters to ratify over 1 million at November elections, we had 2,730 vote yes, which
Can you
passed.
speak up, Twyla? It's a little hard to hear you.
We have 1,029 votes for no and 403 blanks. For question 3, for the approval of the energy savings bond, we had 2,500 vote yes, which passed, 1,299 vote no, and 336 blanks. Total municipal ballots cast were 4,135, which varies a little from that in the state ballots that we issue, because we issue, we do not issue state UOCAVA ballots, and we have only issued town ballots to those. The state totals are posted on our website, and we are ready to send the results of those votes cast to the Augusta tomorrow with the council's approval. So, if you approve, we'll go ahead and file those.
That's great. And Twyla, I think we all know how hard you've been working, and there's a reason our meeting is tonight instead of last night. And we really appreciate all the hard work that you put into this. It's kind of like your prom night. And we see the hard work that you put into it, and I, just seeing how hard all of the folks who help you out in the polling places, how hard they are working and how diligent they are. And it's really wonderful to see, and we all truly appreciate it. So thank you very much.
The town of Lisbon is very, very lucky enough to have very election clerks, and thank you. Really, the work is done by most of those election clerks and those wardens, and we couldn't do without them.
That's great.
So, awesome.
So we are looking for a motion to approve the election results to be sent to Augusta.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Order passes 6-0.
And the next item, please, Twyla.
The next item is audience participation for new items.
Thank you.
I'd just like to thank everybody for that supporting me.
Your name and where you're from?
I'm Dale Crafts from Lisbon. I'd just like to thank everybody that supported me and went out to vote yesterday. I look forward to learning and working with you all in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crafts.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
And I will say that I was incredibly pleased to see that energy savings bond that council worked so hard on, so very many people worked so very hard on. And a lot of credit to a lot of people. And it is really going to be a huge savings for this town. And I was really excited to see that too. And the next item, please, Twyla.
Is council response to new items? Oh, we have.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I was hiding back there. I have 3 things. Wondering when we're going to be getting a financial statement from the Moxie Festival. Moxie Festival was in July, and I would imagine that all of the bills have been in and paid and everything, and I think it's time we get a financial statement. Also, I'd like to thank the Public Works Department for filling in the potholes on Route 196 and a few on School Street. That's really saving my car and other vehicles as well. Third, I was at the polls yesterday morning selling tickets for a Thanksgiving basket. The Lisbon Library is going to be,
I think she left already.
Okay. I think they have 2 Thanksgiving baskets, $1 for 1 ticket, 6 for $5. The baskets are amazing, and tickets are available at the Lisbon Library. I believe there are 2 baskets, and the drawing will be on November 23rd. And the baskets are amazing, and I urge everyone to go in and purchase some tickets.
Thank
All
you.
those for good cause.
Thank you.
Bill Bauer. I have 2 items, and I'm not necessarily looking for these to be placed on any council agenda. They're more or less information items. First of all, I want to report to you that the Frost Hill Avenue pipe job has been completed, all but the grading and resurfacing of the information. If there's a main break there now, something's drastically wrong, because the new line is now activated, with the exception of one hydrant. The next step will be moved on to Androscoggin Street, and I assume everyone knows where Androscoggin Street is? It's the one that runs parallel with 196. It's those of us that are old enough to remember when the highway used to go up around, and before they put in the present 196. We'll be replacing that. That's phase 2. And the other thing I want to announce is that the Lisbon Water Department has been awarded a grant, and we have been talking with the city of Lewiston as far as having an emergency connection. I emphasize the word emergency connection with the city of Lewiston for water. It will not be, I don't want anybody to think that they're going to get calls from the public saying, are we taking Lewiston water now? You're not. And we don't have the funds to put it in, but we did get a $5,000 grant. And the study is ongoing with Wright and Pierce and the city of Lewiston. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Hey, Dot.
At the last meeting, I made a comment and wondered why, when they were doing the water line on Frost Hill Avenue, they didn't do a sewer line as well, because some of the septic systems going down the hill towards Route 196 are failing. And a counselor answered my question after the meeting. He said that if the sewer line failed, it would be contaminating the water supply. So thank you, Chris, for that.
Thank you, Dot. Okay, anyone else? Okay, the next item, please.
Council's response to new items.
Okay. Dot, you asked a good question. When are we getting the financial statements from Moxie Festival? And I think now is a good time to follow up on that and get that moving so that we can see what really went on. And I know it's a good thing to start with in preparation for next year's festival. I'm glad you brought up that your potholes were fixed. I was wondering why there were little orange lines and dots all over the road in front of my house, and I came home just the other day and it was repaved. So I was like, oh good, just in time for winter. So I agree, these things are getting done in good time, and we have to thank the Public Works for that. In terms of the library baskets, I have to agree, I already bought a big line of those, a bunch of those tickets. And they are beautiful baskets, and you can buy the tickets at the library, so thank you for bringing that up, Dot. Thank you for filling us in, Mr. Bauer, on the Frost Hill Ave project and the next one, and then on the Water Department grant. And I think we'd really like to hear more about that grant as you move forward and see how that project moves forward, so that we can just sort of keep it in the back of our minds and it's not a surprise. So that'd be great. Thank you very much. And the next item, please.
We have no appointments. It would be councilor communications.
Okay. Okay.
Tracy, could you come up to the podium, please?
Sure.
And you're asking Tracy Austin, who's the chair of the school committee. Okay. Thank you for being here, Tracy.
Not a problem.
We've been, as counselors, we've been getting inundated with calls and wanting information on why the school is not accepting the first bid, or the lowest bid.
Okay.
And it's not nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
But,
They, just so you know, for background information, I have yet to be contacted by anybody. And
We suspected.
I know that Superintendent Green has been in constant communications with the town manager regarding the problem at hand. And we do have, are awaiting legal opinion. We have a policy that believes that we were covered by the decision. I was not there, let me first say that. I was on vacation. So the information that I have is not firsthand. I was not in the meeting. But from my understanding, we have a policy that we believe we operated by, and where it's not a state-funded project, there is no, it was our opinion that there is no legal reasoning to take a lowest bid. As in state projects, you are mandated to. So for right now, for today, that is all I will comment about until we get official legal opinion.
Thank you, Tracy. And I think it's great that you're here, and we really appreciate it because all of us have received phone calls or emails with questions. And this is definitely something that is in the school committee's purview, not ours. And so we urge the public, if you have any questions at all about the school bid and the work that's going to be going on for the gymnasium, as the council is available for council questions, the school committee is available for school questions, and we urge people to contact you. And thank you again for being here.
Just so you do know, I was personally contacted today by Lewiston Sun Journal, so they are running an article. I'm assuming it will be in tomorrow's paper. I did defer them to the superintendent because I was not there firsthand, so I was not going to surmise, guess, or what have you, for my opinions to be placed in the paper because I was not there. So I did defer them to the superintendent. He did speak to the person writing the article, so I just don't want to be, hey, how come she didn't mention it last night? But we were contacted and they said that they were on a strict deadline. So,
well, we appreciate your candor and also your professionalism in making sure that it's taken care of in the right way. So thank you very much.
no problem.
Thank you for bringing it up, Councilor. Okay.
Better that way than the way I would go.
Okay. Do we have any other councilor communications?
I do have, excuse me, if I can get my voice back. I do have one council communication to share. I just want to let the public know that on Thanksgiving Day at the Lisbon Falls Baptist Church, they'll have a Thanksgiving dinner at 11 o'clock. It is free. If you do plan to attend, you just need to contact Judy Goddard, General Assistance Director, to be put on the list. So.
They just want to make sure they're prepared for the right number of people. And do they have plenty of volunteers, do you know?
It does say if you want to donate, let me get the exact wording up. If you want to donate food or volunteer, to also contact her.
Okay, great. Thank you for bringing that up for us.
Just one thing, this Saturday is the semifinals for the Class D Western football. And if anybody's going to be at the game, just a reminder, the game starts at 12:30, not 1:30.
Thank you, because I know there are a lot of people who really want to make it to that game.
We'll be playing Old Orchard Beach.
Okay, great.
Is it home?
Yes, we're the first seed, so as we win, they'll be at home.
We get to keep winning.
Let's hope so.
We were so winning earlier tonight.
Yes.
Okay, I think we're on a roll. Well, thank you very much. I have a short communication. I just want to make sure that I thank everybody who supported me. I feel I've worked very hard, and I put a lot of my soul into being here for everybody. And so I thank you all. Thank you. This is a great council. We have a really great diversity of people here, people from different backgrounds, people in different careers, people with different educations, and I think that's extremely valuable for our town. And I look forward to seeing more great things, so thank you.
You have what? You have another meeting?
Well, but I wanted to say it's right after the election. So.
I do
Yes.
want to say that she has volunteered to help me with the Trails to Rails, which will be starting up again now that our legislators have done politicking.
As long as I don't have to ride on that four-wheeler thing.
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. And also, of course, congratulations to our newest counselor. And I know that everybody's looking forward to getting to know him. Thank you. And the next item, please, Twyla.
Since there is no executive session, order 2014-242 adjourned.
Make the motion.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Sign the warrants and then
Okay, all counselors, please make sure everything is signed in
know.
the manager's office.
Nothing.
And Twyla, I want to make sure you take this so I don't forget.
Put a book in there.
Look at it this way.
I wouldn't let him, I'm stepping on his toe.
Hey, Roger. How you doing?
For warming, how about that?
Oh, I'm just going, boy. Yeah. I hope so.
I was thinking about
That's a
when
bad
I
thing.
Mr. Crafts, I haven't had a chance to congratulate you. Thank you. Thank you for running.
I'll get it to the father.